All in Sports Network. We love sports.
This is your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns right here on All In Horns. It is Tuesday, October 28th. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. And this is All In Horns presented to you by Rogue Sports Network. And Jake, we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterback position for the University of Texas. Arch Manning officially ruled as a concussion at the end of that Mississippi State game on Saturday. We'll kind of give our clear-headed thoughts to that game as well. But Arch Manning concussed. Matthew Caldwell likely to be the starter. I highly doubt they go ahead and play Arch Manning after he was diagnosed with a concussion on Saturday, going in to Austin for the first time in over a month. And they'll play the newly ranked number 9 Vanderbilt Commodores. We will also talk about the AP Top 25 polls to wrap up the show as well. So, Jake, Arch Manning concussed at the end of that Mississippi State game. Matthew Caldwell comes in, does end up throwing the game-winning touchdown to Emmett Mosley right there in front of Brandon Walker. Anybody who knows anything about Barstool Sports, Brandon Walker, big-time Mississippi State fan, he was right there, front row seat. Was the first person, he was actually the closest person to Emmett Mosley on that touchdown pass. And
got to make a play.
Got to make a play. And if he was a real fan, he would have gotten in there and interrupted that pass. But anyway, that's a whole conversation for another day. But I don't typically, who am I kidding? I love to see other teams' fans in misery and in pain. And it was just so good to see Brandon Walker, of all people, to be in that type of pain. But anyway, Jake, Matthew Caldwell, my thoughts on him so far this season, if Texas does have to move forward with him, I do think that Sark can come up with a game plan and a scheme that is going to suit his skill set and at least be able to not completely just look lost out there as a backup quarterback. He's got plenty of reps under his belt. He's a 4-year starter. He's been to 4 different universities. He's at his final stop with the University of Texas as a backup, was the full-time starter at Troy. And, he's played a lot of football. So if there's anybody you kind of want backing up your team, it's a guy like this, maybe not Matthew Caldwell himself, but a guy similar to Matthew Caldwell where he's not coming in with zero experience, no game time reps whatsoever.
Yeah. And I mean, he audibled and hot route Mosley to the fade route.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally going to be a different route on an RPO. He saw a look he liked, made the change, and then threw it there. Everyone was getting, which again, funny thing about how this fan base is. I saw multiple people going, I don't care that it was completed. That's a horrible play call by Steve Sarkisian. Blah. And then you learn that he made the change, and he was the one who decided to throw kind of the low percentage jump ball. And it worked
honestly,
out.
I thought that throw was a little overthrown. Like when I initially, as it was happening.
It was.
Well, yeah, but as it was happening, I thought Emmett Mosley had no shot of making that catch. And then whenever they called it incomplete, I was like, yeah, okay. And then I saw the replay. I was like, oh, that's a catch. He kept his foot in. So the fact that Emmett Mosley was able to make that catch, the fact that Matthew Caldwell was able to make that throw and then also make the read and call the hot route and be confident enough in himself to do that. Kudos to the graduate senior, 5th-year guy making a play there for his team.
Yeah, I mean that ball didn't look catchable. Mosley just made an incredible catch because it was overthrown a little bit. Caldwell would tell you that to your face, I'm sure. But it was just a hell of a catch by Mosley. But Caldwell's he's had to come into the game 2 times in horrible spots to have to come in as a quarterback. He had to come in against Florida, 4th quarter, Texas trying to drive to tie it, and throws, like a 20-yard strike. And then comes in overtime, again, coming off cold off the bench, completely unexpected. Run play then has the stones. The Randy from South Park just balls in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
To hot route his receiver to a low percentage fade route. and get it to where it was at least catchable. Little overthrown, but that's okay. It was still obviously in a spot where Mosley could get it. And so I agree. I think Sarkisian come up with a good plan. Again, it doesn't matter if the offensive line is horrendous. Hopefully they can build off what they did in that fourth quarter, because Mississippi State started the fourth quarter, and I've rewatched the fourth quarter last night before I went to bed. And in the fourth quarter, it started with Mississippi State really only rushing 3 or 4. Texas goes right down, scores a touchdown, because when Arch has time, he's a pretty damn good quarterback, which, by the way, Arch played fantastic in this game.
I've actually seen a lot of people giving him his flowers for this game, which he rightfully deserves. I thought, and I think Sark said something as well about in his post-game conference of how much we've seen the growth from Arch and just in this year alone, and the adversities he's had to go through, with the media saying what they say, with the fans say what they say about him. And it really does make it makes you kind of step back and say, man, he has really developed a lot. Although there are obvious things that, even in this game against Mississippi State, first half looked horrendous. It was painful to watch the offense try to move the football whenever Mississippi State wasn't playing in a prevent, 3-man rush type situation. But the fact that Arch was still able to make the plays that he had to make in the fourth quarter, end up tying this game, and then going into overtime, still made a huge play on the play that he got concussed, needed that first down, got that first down, and then Caldwell was able to finish it off. But, it is kudos to Arch Manning for continuing the grind, improving each week. And by far, to me, Jake, I would still put the Oklahoma game ahead of this game. But I do think the Oklahoma game was his best performance, and this right there, right behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I put the Oklahoma game ahead just considering the level, the defense he was playing against.
Now, statistically, it was this game.
Yeah, and this game should have been even better from him statistically if his wide receivers could catch the football. That was my thing, too, going back and kind of rewatching the game, was Arch played pretty good from start to finish. I mean, when the offense wasn't functioning, it was not his fault. I mean, there's games where it's been like the Kentucky game. It was like, it's not his fault, but he's not helping. This game, it's not his fault, and he's doing everything he can, and everyone else is letting him down completely. Yeah. That was the vibe. I got that vibe while watching it the first time through, like live. That vibe was much stronger, even more so through the rewatch, because not even just the fourth quarter. Before that, he was playing a perfectly fine football game, if not good, but he was just being completely felled by everyone around him. And so, yeah, I imagine we're going to see Matthew Caldwell against Vanderbilt and not Arch. So it's kind of a shame Arch can't try to build off this momentum and, finally be back at DKR for the first time in a millennium. But, I think Caldwell's certainly a capable backup. And now also, by the way, a news story from this is Trey Owens isn't the third stringer. KJ Lacey is now the backup quarterback this week. He's going to be getting the backup reps. It's a big week for KJ Lacey because he has to prepare to be ready to come in. Again, especially when you have an offensive line like this, you are truly one hit away.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about Vanderbilt's defense. For people who think that Vanderbilt is just this high-scoring offense, that they have a really good front seven. In fact, I think their run defense is the fourth best run defense in the entire country. So how bad Texas's run offense has been all year, as a backup quarterback, what's your best friend? Probably the run game, probably a good offensive line. In this scenario, Matthew Caldwell is not going to have a run game. He's just not. The offense is going to have to flow through him.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Vanderbilt and you do say Alabama is by far the best team they played, and Alabama ran it all over them. The problem is you don't have an offensive line even close to Alabama's.
Yeah. Or running backs.
Missouri ran the ball okay against them, but once Bo Perbula got hurt and the backup came in for the Tigers, they did a much better job of containing Hardy after that. Hardy still averaged about 5 yards a carry, but again, the Texas offense not even close to the run offense of Mizzou or Alabama, so they're probably not going to run the ball very well in this game, and so it's going to be on throw, and the defense is going to have to play good. The defense, I mean, if they play like they've done, I would say the last couple weeks, I don't really care that they didn't give up that many points against Kentucky, because if they play like they did against Kentucky, Vanderbilt's going to score 40.
No, I agree,
that,
Jake.
to me, is the talking point. To me, the talking point isn't the offense, even though we're going to have a backup in, all that stuff going into this week. This is a week where your defense was supposedly and felt like they were a top defense in this country, if not the top defense in this country. They have been moved up and down the field at will 2 weeks in a row. Moved up and down the field at will against Florida. And that's 3 out of your last 4 games where the defense has not looked very good. If you play that way against Vanderbilt, this game will be a blowout.
Which, again, I just am considering for the remainder of this season, I'm considering the offensive or the performance against Oklahoma as the outlier.
And the Oklahoma offense isn't good.
Yeah, we've seen that's also been completely proven. And so, I just, I'm going to basically put everything that the defense and the offense did against Oklahoma kind of on the back burner and essentially say your defense has difficulty with running the football. And I said this in our immediate reaction, Jake, is that teams are looking at what the Texas defense tendencies are, and it's allowing you can establish the run against this defense. And once you establish the run, your pass game opens up tremendously. And we've seen in Kentucky, we've seen against Florida, and now against Mississippi State. We're hearing the broadcaster saying, "Oh, a career high in carries and touches for whatever starting running back. Insert starting running back here." And when teams are able to rely on the running game to just get 4, 5, 6 yards a carry, it opens everything else up for the offense, which is also why the Texas offense, and coincidentally, is not having as much success as people would like, is because of that reason. And so, again, matchup wise, I don't love it. And it's not Matthew Caldwell. It's not the backup quarterback situation. It's how this Vanderbilt team is built and how this Texas team has performed this season is why I mostly don't like this matchup going in to Saturday.
Yeah. And this kind of off course of what you just talked about, but I was reading about this actually right before we recorded, and I wanted to make sure I brought it up. There's an interesting change Steve Sarkisian made for this Vanderbilt game, and I didn't learn about it until after the game because I don't think it really started getting reported on until after the game and on Sunday. Steve Sarkisian changed the responsibilities of some of his staff, offensive staff, going into this game. A.J. Milwee, the quarterback coach and co-offensive coordinator, moved up to the booth. He's been on the sideline his whole time at Texas. He moved up to the booth, and the co-quarterback coach came down to the sideline. And there's been discussions from internally that made a big difference in their ability to kind of adjust things. And once they saw something that kept working, Milwee had a good eye for it and made some changes for it. And so that's something I imagine is going to keep up. And so I'll be curious to see if, and I wish Arch was the quarterback because that would probably give it, because I imagine they're going to try to run the ball and probably get the QB run game going as well against Vanderbilt. But by
the way, Caldwell has some wheels. Let's not forget he can move.
No, he's very capable. I mean, that's why Trey Owens has been pushed back on the roster and is going to transfer. I mean, I think it's all his only post I've seen on social media recently was an agency he signed with that was just saying, "Hey, I'm going to the transfer portal."
And that's fine.
And I think part of that reason why is Sarkisian after last year, and this is actually just known, that Sarkisian has changed his mind on what he wants his quarterback to be. He wants his quarterback to be able to run the ball. He doesn't want to be a run-first guy, but he wants to be able to have an element of a QB run game and an element of a QB just being able to make plays whenever things break down. And that's paid dividends this year, because if they just had a pocket passer like Quinn this year, the offense would be worse because there'd be 50 more sacks somehow.
Yeah.
And so that's why that's part of the reason KJ Lacey has jumped Trey Owens on the depth chart. But I'll be curious to see how A.J. Milwee going to the box affects in-game adjustments moving forward, because they obviously made some big in-game adjustments yesterday, really started to go just kind of pure spread, and more importantly, the pass pro started to hold up. Shocker, when the offensive line starts to actually give the quarterback a couple seconds to throw, everything looks really good. We should run that playbook all the time, not the playbook where the offensive line gives up a sack within 1.5 seconds. But that was just an interesting change. I wasn't sure if you had seen yet that
I didn't
start
yeah,
doing
I hadn't
that,
heard all
and
that.
then the offense having one of their better games. I think that kind of correlates.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Hey, let's go ahead and hear from Underdog. We'll give everybody an update on our All-In Horns entry from this last weekend, how it went. Give everybody a heads up and a little bit of a teaser. It's a heartbreaker. We'll be right back. Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code HORNS to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code HORNS. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks. Win money. Must be 18 and up. 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up, and in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. All right, I want to show everybody right here. That's it. That's our Underdog entry right there. We were a Josh Allen passing touchdown away from hitting on the Fernando Mendoza
40-point game.
In a 40-point game where Josh Allen scored 3 touchdowns. 2 of them were rushing, 1 passing. It couldn't have been the other way around. If it was the other way around, that'd be cashing in at about $247 or something like that. Was it was a $5 bet, could have gotten about $217 or something along those lines. And so Jackson Dart hit the rushing touchdown. Fernando Mendoza hit 3 passing touchdowns. James Cook, first touchdown scorer. It all hit. It all played out perfectly, except for Josh Allen not getting the 2 touchdowns. But hey, we'll get back on the grind again. Yet again, we will get back, and we will have our All-In Horns entry ready for you. Hopefully by tomorrow is the game plan. But again, maybe it's Thursday. Maybe we take a little bit of time and we really do our homework and we really try to get something that's going to win. Since we've been doing this, we've been 1 touchdown away. We had a Xavier Worthy touchdown away and a Josh Allen touchdown away from hitting
both my picks. I feel like I've let the team down, but
they're not bad picks.
They're not bad picks, especially the Josh Allen one, because how many times was a wide receiver tackled inside the 3?
Oh, we had I kept texting you. I was like, oh my gosh. The tight end that was tackled at like the 3-yard line really bothered me because I was
just watching it depressed because I was like, I feel like I'm letting the team down, and I appreciate you not bringing that up. Shout out to you. Normally you would. You've shown some grace in that because I think you agree it was not a bad bet.
The Josh Allen 2 touchdowns was the least of my concerns, to be 100% honest.
No, that's the disgusting thing about this entry is that was by far the one I was least concerned about. Like, I just wasn't even like, I was just like, okay, that one's in the bag. The Mendoza one I felt pretty good about. I was like, can we get the Josh Dart or the Jackson Dart rushing touchdown? I combined the 2 names.
And that was in garbage time.
When he ran it in, I was like, oh my God, we might do it. And then it just didn't happen. And then in the Cook first touchdown, those were the 2 like crazy odd ones on this entry. And it didn't work out.
And Jake, I really like getting the odds that high to where you can bet $5 and win over $200 on the winning side of it.
Chasing the thrill,
and then actually getting that thrill, but coming up this short actually kind of broke my heart just enough. So again, we're not predetermining these picks. We got to see what the lines are. We got to see which ones we like. If they're safe bets, they're safe bets. If they're a little bit more extravagant than like we saw this last week, then that's how it is. But whatever our gut says and whatever we're feeling, we'll come out with you with another All In Horns. We're sorry for anybody who rode with us this week on Underdog. We'll try to get you some money next week for sure. Because trust me, we're trying to put some money in our bank's account as well. All right, Jake, top 25 polls. Let's go ahead, get into that, wrap up the show with that. New polls come out. Top 3, top 4, actually the top 6 are the exact same as they were a week ago. You've got Oregon at number 6, Georgia, Alabama, A&M, Indiana, Ohio State. Then you've got Ole Miss jumping Georgia Tech after beating Oklahoma. Georgia Tech drops a spot to number 8 after they remain undefeated and basically just handled Syracuse. And then you've got Vanderbilt jumping up a spot, BYU jumping up a spot, and that is your top 10 right there.
Drugs.
I don't understand.
The AP voters are on a lot of drugs. I don't understand. As much as Texas hasn't looked great this year, you cannot have them ranked below Oklahoma. That game was played on a neutral field.
And they're both have the exact same
record.
Same conference record, same overall record, and Oklahoma is ranked 2 spots ahead of Texas, with Missouri splitting them up in the difference. And so, yeah.
And let's not let the coaches get away with it either. Oklahoma's 1 spot ahead in the coaches pool of Texas.
Yeah.
Drugs. The AP voters are taking drugs. This system needs to be abolished. It is just, or you got to get voters who actually give a shit. Because it's a joke.
And they both have Notre Dame right where they want them. Both. The fact that Notre Dame is 5-2, and yes, their losses are to Miami and A&M. So yeah, you have 2 top 10 losses for Notre Dame. But they started out 0-2, but still, I would think that Texas Tech could get in as that 12 spot over a Notre Dame or I don't know. That to me is kind of where things are a little iffy with Notre Dame. But then again, you look at kind of the rest of the teams and you're like, well, who's better than Notre Dame record wise? Virginia, Louisville, Cincinnati are, but I'm not putting either one of those teams ahead of Notre Dame. But I will put Texas Tech. I will say Texas Tech is a better team and have looked better and put up a more impressive resume than Notre Dame has.
Yeah, and also LSU's still getting votes from AP voters. Brian Kelly is likely going to be fired by the time this podcast is published.
It's possible. Definitely.
And they're still getting votes to be ranked. They are a bad football team. They aren't
Utah.
Just Jake, not a good football team.
Utah does not need to be ranked. Utah's number 24.
No, I mean,
put
Iowa
Navy in there.
Also, Iowa should probably be ranked instead of them. Iowa, I mean, as much as they are just not fun to watch, Iowa's sitting at 6-2, 4-1 in Big Ten play. They're coming off, and their offense has been starting to play well. By the way, quietly, Iowa has scored in their last 3 games 37, 25, 41. Quietly, that I don't care who they're playing against.
That's good for
Iowa football talk, and they've given up 0, 24, and 3 in those games. Now they have Oregon and USC coming up, so we'll find out. But what has Utah done to be ranked? They've played what, 2 good teams all year and lost to them both and got dominated by Tech. AP voters have just been, this year has been truly more of a joke than ever. And luckily it's getting exposed. I really hope it causes a shakeup. They need to get people who are making these, because you can't have an AP voter going sitting there, I'm not going to divulge my process, but it doesn't really matter anyways. You can't have people voting on the top 25 that say it doesn't really matter anyways.
And that's the problem with it, because it does matter, because guess what? The college committee, the playoff committee, they go based off of ranked wins, strength of schedule. Your strength of schedule is based on the amount of ranked opponents that you have in your top 25 and how high they were ranked and where you played them at, whether that was on the road or at home. All of that stuff plays into strength of schedule. And guess what? We've seen the playoff committee base their rankings off of what the strength of schedule is and strength of opponent and quality wins and things of that nature. And so it really does. I mean, it's a real detriment whenever you have AP pollers that are talking that way about that it doesn't matter. It doesn't really play an effect on it because we don't have the final poll. No, in a way, the final poll is based off of your poll.
Yeah, it matters not only a little bit, it matters a lot. And for all the reasons you just said. And I guarantee you can find enough AP voters out there that care and take it seriously and watch the games, most importantly.
More importantly, A&M 8-0 for the first time in their history.
Yeah, I made a lot of money off that game. I've had a killer weekend in my actual gambling. Cowboys defense makes me money. Betting against LSU makes me money. Like, there's just, you find a team that you know is just getting the likes because of their name, and you just you hammer it into the ground. I bet an A&M alt line in that game of 10.5. Like, I knew that game wasn't going to be close because A&M is a good team this year. I know. The only thing that annoys me about A&M is just how they're like, we should be number one team in the nation. It's like, your schedule is objectively much weaker than Texas's was last year. And you were sitting there saying Texas was a fraud because they're of their schedule. That's the only thing, but that's just how A&M fans are. But
yeah,
like, their schedule's a joke this year, but they're winning their games. Just like Texas did last year against a weaker schedule.
You win the games on your schedule. That's all you can do. All right, Jake. That's everything I've got for today's episode. We'll definitely add to it as the week goes on. We'll get more and more in depth with our Vanderbilt conversation. We'll get more news breaking about injuries and whatnot as the week goes on, and we will obviously bring that all to you right here on All in Horns. Please like, share, and subscribe if you've made it this far into the video and you are not liked, shared, or subscribed. Please do so. There's no reason for you not to be if you've made it this far into the video. That's Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. As always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em. Earthquake in Kansas City.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.